You're listening to The Monetized Mom, the podcast that teaches moms of faith how to monetize their expertise online to create influence, impact, income, and more importantly, financial independence. I'm your host, Flo Alexander. Let's chat. Hey mama, if you're listening to this, I know one thing about you. You want to be able to exit your corporate career so that you can spend more time with your spouse and kids, have the freedom to travel and live life on your own terms, all while creating real transformation and impact in the lives of others with your expertise. Well, you're in luck. I just released a new case study on the method moms are using to build a profitable online business, make a full-time income from home, and quit their 9-to-5. You can access it now at themonetizedmom.com/study. That's themonetizedmom.com/study. Again, themonetizedmom.com/study. Let's get on with the show. So, if you want to be able to launch your business in less than a day, there are 3 things that you need to do. 3 things that you need to do, and I'm going to focus on one in particular. But the first thing that you need to do if you want to launch your online business in a day, one, you got to be crystal clear on what your expertise is. Again, we are leveraging our expertise to build an online business. Why are we doing this? This is because that is the shortest way to be able to build a profitable business, a successful business. When you are relying on something that you already know, the learning curve is much shorter. You have the expertise, you have the makings of the product or service that you're going to offer. So the only thing that you need to learn at that point is marketing, and then digital marketing and content creation and all that stuff, all the things necessary to bring an audience to what you are offering. So the first thing you got to do though is be clear on what is that expertise. I've heard it before, and I've gotten this question. What if I have a lot of expertise? I feel like I'm a jack of all trades. I have a lot of interests. Pick one. What are you just pick one, right? What are you the most effective at? What have you been able to leverage to get people results or to get yourself results? What have you spent your 10,000 hours doing? So the first thing is, if you want to launch your business in less than a day, get crystal clear on what it is your expertise is, because that's what you're going to leverage to build your business. The second thing that you'll need to do immediately is get a general idea of who you serve. Now, as time progresses, you will get very clear on this. You will get very niched down. But if you want to get started and launch that business now, you need to have a general idea of who you serve. So when I say a general idea of who you serve, maybe it's I serve moms with toddlers, or maybe it's I serve corporate moms. Maybe it's I serve people with an autoimmune disease or something. You need to get clear on, in general, who is it that I serve? So when you start doing the next step that I want to talk about, you have a clear understanding of who you're actually talking to. So first, get crystal clear on what your expertise is. And then the second thing is you want to get an idea of who it is that you're actually serving. So once you're clear on those 2 things, you are ready to go, okay? You are completely ready to go. Realize now, at this point, I've said nothing about picking brand colors. I've said nothing about securing a website. I've said nothing about getting a domain. I said nothing about getting social media handles. I've said none of those things. And I definitely have not said anything about spending money. Okay. So the first 2 things are completely free. And the third thing is going to be free as well. If you want to launch your business in less than a day, if you want to launch it after you get off this live stream, the third thing that you need to do is immediately start creating content. Immediately start creating content. Okay. And here's the content that you need to create. And this is when you need to be taking your notes. Okay. This is the type of content that you need to be creating. You need to be creating long form content. Why long form content? What is long form content? What do I need to do? We're about to talk about all of that. You need to be creating expert content. When I say expert content, I mean, based on the expertise that you've identified that you have, you need to create content around that. So think about the person that you serve or the people that you serve and your expertise and what is a problem that they're having. Then I want you to create content that answers questions that they may have. So say, for instance, your expertise is growing long natural hair. I don't know. The people that you serve are obviously going to be people who have natural hair. The expert content that you would create would be something like tutorials on how to condition natural hair to make it grow, or tutorials on how to detangle natural hair so that you don't cause breakage. This is the kind of content that you need to create based on your expertise and based on the people that you have decided that you're going to serve, which is your target audience. So you need to create expert content. Now, I said long form content. Why do you want long form content? And specifically, the content that I recommend is YouTube videos. You want to create long form content. The reason you want to do that is, one, you are able to build trust. You guys are watching me on video. You're able to read my energy. You're able to decide whether or not I'm someone that you trust. You're going to decide based on my personality whether I'm someone that you like. That is the power of video. So that is why I recommend that you have a long form content, and more specifically, why I recommend that you go for YouTube. YouTube allows you to host that long form content, and it's also a search engine. People are always searching for answers to their problem. So if you are an expert on a particular subject, putting your content on that platform allows people to search for it and ultimately find you. So that is why I recommend creating long form content, specifically video content, and specifically on YouTube. So that's easy peasy. You can start a YouTube channel today. Okay. So you want to create long form content, expert based content, to build trust. And so that is also evergreen. What do I mean by evergreen? When you create content, you want content that people can go back years from now or even months from the point that you created it, and it's still relevant. So you're not talking about a specific time, something that's stamped in time. Like you're not talking necessarily about a specific current event, right? You want to talk about something that is evergreen, information that's evergreen and useful at any point in time. So when you're creating your content, video content, long form, and then it needs to be something that's going to be relevant no matter when someone finds your platform and finds the information. And the other reason that you want to leverage YouTube and video content, if you're just starting your online business and you're launching, is because it's bingeable. It is bingeable. It has the Netflix effect. And you may be watching it on YouTube. You may watch other YouTube channels, but you sometimes binge on content on YouTube, right? You go down this rabbit hole where you go to YouTube for a specific thing, whether you're searching for a tutorial or if you're just going on there for entertainment, you go on that platform. And then next thing you know, you watch 10 videos. You've watched 10 videos related to that topic, maybe even by that same creator. So the reason that I'm telling you to do it is for that very reason. Someone is going to be searching for the answer that you're going to provide in your content. And before you know it, because you're consistently creating content, they're going to start binge watching your content. And before you know, they watch 10 videos and they've subscribed and they're interested in. So first things first, if you want to launch your business in less than a day, if you want to launch your business today, tomorrow, I would say today, start a YouTube channel, start creating content. You want to create long form, evergreen video content that people can connect with, that will allow it to be bingeable, that will also establish you as an expert online. All right, here's the reality though. So I'm telling you to go do this. I'm telling you, go get a YouTube channel. I'm telling you to start making video content, expert-based content that answers people's questions. But the reality is this: no one's going to watch it at first. I'm telling you this, and then you're gonna be like, well, no one's watching. No one's gonna watch it at first. That's the reality of it. You're just getting started. And I think sometimes we get disillusioned about how things are actually gonna work, that we think somehow we are exempt from process, but it's a process. In the beginning, you may not get anyone to watch some stuff, but if you are consistent with it, if you continue with it, you will build that audience, and eventually you will start to see those views and you will start to get people drawn into the content that you're creating. Here's the thing about it. The Monetized Mom, what you're watching now, is a new brand for me. I started it last year and really didn't do much with it last year. So really, if we want to be real with it, I literally just got serious about it this year. Now, it doesn't matter that I have a completely very popular and very large platform through Mama and Money, which is where a lot of people find me. Has nothing to do with this brand. This brand still has to start at ground zero. And there are some times when people don't watch some of the content that I put out, but nonetheless, you keep doing it. and it builds over time. That audience grows over time, and that audience then becomes customers who buy into what it is that you are able to offer to solve their problem. So know that in reality, when you get started, you may not have an audience. You may not have people flocking to see your videos. You may not have thousands of views. You may not have people on your email list. Just get started. Just get started. Do not despise humble beginnings. You have to get started if you want to get to the end goal. And the thing that you have to keep in your mind is that this is a long-term play. I think we've been psyched into believing that everything is microwavable, everything is quick, it's instant gratification, but this is a process. You just have to commit to it. Okay. The other thing that I want to bring to your attention as it pertains to launching your online business is that there is no announcement necessary. We don't need to know. Just do it. We do not need to know. Some people spend so much time on creating content around something that they're about to do than actually doing the work to make sure that thing is successful. We do not need an announcement saying, hey, my brand is launching on whatever day. My brand is launching. Get ready, it's launching. And then you have these, whatever video that you put out, and then you get crickets. Here's the reality of that scenario, because I've seen it done several times where people make an announcement about them launching their brand. The people that you're making that announcement to probably aren't the people that's your ideal audience. It's probably not even your target audience. So you are wasting your time letting them know that you're launching a brand or a business that they won't be interested in anyway. And then you wonder why it's crickets. It's because you're making an announcement to people who are not interested in your business at all. Yes, it's great to let your family and friends know that you're about to do something, but let me tell you the best way to let them know. You just do it. You just do it, and then they find out. It was years before I think I even told my mom about my website, and now other people tell her like, "Oh yeah, I was on your daughter's website." She's like, "Oh okay, I don't know what she does on there, but I guess it's pretty successful. I guess it's been on Yahoo, it's been on all the all these media outlets, right?" So the best way that you can launch your business is just to start. You don't have to let anybody know. The right people that you're intending to serve will find you because you are creating content. You don't have to make a big announcement about it, okay? Because again, the people that you're announcing it to probably aren't the people that you're trying to target anyway. And oh, by the way, your friends and family probably aren't going to be your customers. So just keep that in mind. I'm just keeping it real with you guys, but that's the reality. One, you're going to start at zero because everybody starts at zero. And then two, you don't have to make an announcement. It's not necessary. Those probably aren't the people that you're meant to serve anyway. So save yourself some time. You don't have to make an announcement. Just do the work. And then here's the thing about back to the announcement scenario, like launching an online business is not like launching a storefront, right? When people have grand openings, it's completely different. You don't have to have all that hoopla around starting an online business. The barrier of entry for starting an online business is very low. Anyone can do it as long as you have internet connection. You can do it. If you have a smartphone, internet connection, it's even a plus if you have a laptop because you don't even need that, right? But it's not the same as having to have a grand opening. You don't have to do that. It's completely different landscape. Just start by doing the work. Okay. All right. So I've told you, if you want to start your business like today, like now, the first thing that you need to do is figure out what you're an expert at, determine who it is that you are serving, or at least get a general idea, because as you do more, you'll learn that gets even more solidified. So you'll get much clearer on who that is. You want to create content. So after that, what do you do? So I told you my recommendation is for you to start a YouTube channel, create long form video content that answers questions that someone in your audience would have, right? So that's the first thing. But what happens after you create the content? What do? Right? Because you want to start a business. Like, you're not just out here just to post videos. That's a huge part of it, right? But what do you do after you create that content? So after you create that content, you start looking at the data, right? You do what I call DLA. You look at data, you learn from it, and then you apply it. So the first thing that you need to do is start looking at your data. What content are people engaging with? Look at your data to see what topics are people engaging with. So if you publish a video on YouTube, what video is getting the most views? What content are people engaging with? And then once you figure that out, make more of that content. It's as simple as that. Let me tell you, business is just math. It really is. And that's when it's really just math. And it's quite boring, honestly. If you're running a good business, it's quite boring and you're probably often looking for ways to make it exciting. But it's all about math and looking at data. So when you start creating your content, figure out what people are engaging with, what are they most interested in, and you make more of that content. Okay. And then the second thing, you want to start figuring out what questions are people asking. So as you create content, what questions are they asking in the comment section? What questions are they DMing you? What are the questions that they're asking? And then you answer those questions via your content. See where we're going with this? And then the last thing is you look at who's watching. Who are the people that are watching? Who are they? Learn more about their demographics and their psychographics. And that's where it comes back to having an idea of who you serve. But as you continue to serve and put more content out, you'll get more specific about who your audience is. And the only way that you do that is by looking at the data. You look at the data, you learn from it, and you apply it, right? So who are the people that's interacting with your content? Learn about their demographics, learn about their psychographics, which I've talked about this before in a previous training, but figure out who those people are. And that's the people that you talk to. That's the people that you shape your messaging around. Those are the people that you connect to so that you can get more information to produce more content so that you can grow your audience. And guess what? Then you monetize it. That's when you monetize. And now we're talking, now we got a business because now we're getting money from the work that we're doing. Okay. So why do I say content first? So you got your expertise, you know who you serve. I said create content. I didn't say anything about getting a logo. I didn't say anything about getting a website. I didn't say anything about brand colors. I didn't say anything about creating a product. I didn't say anything about drops. I didn't say anything about nothing that involves money. So why did I say content first? Why did I say create content first? Quite simple. It is a proof of concept. You have an idea of a business that you want to start. The way that you validate whether that is a good business to start is proof of concept. Create content. Are people engaged in it? Are people interested in it? Do people have a problem that I'm able to solve? You are proving out your concept before you spend a dime. And that's the mistake that a lot of people make when it comes to launching a business. One, they got to make an announcement about it. And again, they're announcing it to the wrong people. But two, people are putting money, investing money into something that they have not validated yet. That is the easiest way to lose money. That is the quickest way to lose money on an idea that you have not validated yet. So the reason that I say start with content is because it's free. The only thing that you're giving up when you're creating content is your time. And yes, time is valuable. Yes, you can't get time back, but I would rather lose 30 minutes of creating a video than $300 spending it on something that's not going to work. Okay. So the reason that I say create content is because it is a proof of concept. You're able to validate that, hey, one, yes, I am an expert and people are interested in the expertise that I have. Two, people are getting value from the content that I'm producing. And if they're getting value from the free content that you're producing, you can just about be sure that they will get value from any paid offer that you then present to them later on. So the reason that you're producing content as you're launching your business is because it is a proof of concept. Will this thing work? Do I have a market? Is this something that I can actually market and create an offer around that people will be interested in purchasing? Is this something that the market actually values and that they would put their money toward? Will they put their money behind it? So before you get a website, before you get a logo, before you go out there and trademark something that you haven't even used in commerce yet, right? Before you try to at least trademark it, you need to prove out your concept first. And the way that you do that is through your content. Start creating content. If you want to launch your online business in less than a day, and this is for people who want to leverage their expertise to build an online business. So I'm not talking about e-commerce. I'm not talking about selling products, drop shipping and all that stuff. That's all great. But if you're leveraging your expertise to build a business, which I recommend, start creating content. That's the first thing that you want to do. Okay. Spend time before you spend money. Spend time before you spend money. validate your concept. So this is actually a method that we use in the continuous improvement world. When I was in the corporate space, it's a method called FastWorks. So this was popularized or leveraged a lot, and they still probably use it in the tech space, right? So what tech companies would do is that they would put out a minimal viable product, right? They would have a concept, an idea, whatever they were creating. They will put out a minimal viable product, meaning the most basic thing that they could produce in the least amount of time. They will put it out there as soon as possible to then get customer feedback. And then from there, they would have different iterations taking into consideration the feedback that the customers were getting. So if you think about it from a consumer standpoint, think about the iPhone, right? The iPhone has gone through how many iterations at this point? I think we're at iPhone 13 right now. I don't know. They've gone through 13 iterations. But they started with one, the minimum viable product. They put something out in the market. They got feedback and they made continuous improvements. This is why they are releasing new updates every year, because they are taking that feedback and they're doing iterations. So if a $1 trillion company is doing that, why don't you think you need to apply it to a business that you're just starting? So what you're doing with your content is you're putting out a minimum viable concept. Let's go with, you're putting out a minimal viable concept. And then as you get feedback from the audience in the form of questions, as you're getting feedback in the form of comments, as you're looking at the data to see what people are engaging with, you use that information to then improve the next iteration. So your content gets even better. Your audience gets even more targeted. You're using that data to make iterations to your business so that by the time that you are ready to present a paid offer, you already know what they want and they are ready to make the investment. Because guess what? They help build the thing that you're going to sell. They've given you the feedback. They've given you the questions. They've told you what their pain points are just from you creating your content. That is how you launch a business in less than a day. That is how you launch a business that's going to be profitable. And that's how you get started launching a product or an offer that is guaranteed to sell. Start with your content. You have to start with your content, right? So again, this is something that they use in the tech space that you need to adopt in your business. Iterations. I think a lot of times, if you guys are like me, which most of you probably are, you're high achievers, you're type A, you're perfectionists, you want to put the best product out there from the very beginning. Business, you got to get rid of that. You got to get rid of that. You got to put out a minimum viable something, concept, product, whatever. Put out a minimal viable something, get the feedback, and you make it better over time. It's not going to be perfect the first time. So if that's what's been hindering you, you got to lose that idea that it's going to be perfect the first go around, because it's not. What in your life has ever been perfect the first go around? Your business is not going to be perfect. So if you are hanging on to perfectionism to prevent yourself or further procrastinate from starting your business, go ahead and throw that out the window. That's no longer a valid excuse. You need to get started. And the way that you do that is by creating content. You have to create expert-based content that people will find value in. All right. So again, it's an iterative process. You create the content, you learn. So again, answering those questions, who's watching? So you figure out the demographic information. What are they engaged with? So what kind of content are they engaging with so that I can make more of that content? And then what questions do they have? So you're learning from that. And then you're going to apply it. You're going to do an iterative FastWorks process and apply that to your business so that ultimately you're going to create an offer that is going to be irresistible, that people are almost guaranteed to buy. Okay. So there you have it. That is how you launch your online business in less than a day. And quite frankly, that is the formula for creating a profitable online business. Doing exactly what I just told you, focusing on the content, spending time before you spend money, nailing down what your expertise is, nailing down who it is that you serve, and then creating that expert content, that valuable content that people in your audience will appreciate, and then taking the data that you're gathering from creating that content and just leveraging it to get even better. And as you get even better, as your audience grows, then you can monetize it. And that's when you're going to have a business that's going to be guaranteed to be profitable. As always, I hope that you found this episode helpful. If you did, don't forget to subscribe, share, and leave a review. And with that, I'll talk to you in the next episode.